Hi guys, good afternoon from my side, good morning, good evening, whatever you are. Piotr here, 18th of February 2020. We are around the US Open. US guys are going back from the long weekend. The smart move, the most discussed things overnight. It's a warning from Apple. Apple states it will miss its quarterly sales forecast due to coronavirus. Good that we have something to blame. Well, the most discussed. So Asia again in the red color. The thing is, if it's going to be day as usual, right? Or this time it's going to be something different. Well, that's what we are going to watch, that's what we are going to discuss right here, right now. So without a further delay, let's straight jump into the charts. Okay, let's start with Nasdaq. Okay guys, let's start with Nasdaq. I'm going to make some cleanings on the chart. It's worth to mention that also the German data and UK data wasn't good. Looks like we might, when it comes to the Friday PMI day, we might get the lower one from the Germany. So that's gonna be that's gonna be watched very carefully as well. So what we have when it comes to the US stocks, right? There are going to be the gap down. First day probably is going to be the gap down when it comes to the daily open, because the truth is that's gonna be today's daily open, right? You see the gap down. Now there are two options in my opinion from the seller's perspective. Either we are going to just try to close the gap, right? Or we are going to finish the business and we are going to retest 9,660 based on the chart I'm using, right? So those two options, and then we might see a little bit lower level. Now, what kind of the lower little bit level I'm talking about? Either we are going to talk about this range, so we are going to double that range after the break, so we are going to finish the business around 9,400, right? Or less optimistic from the bear's perspective, we are going just retest this possible demand, meaning that we are going to just test 9,460, 9,455 based on my chart here on the Nasdaq. So let's have a look what we have from the lower time frame perspective. Let's switch to the 30-minute chart, right? Well, what we have here we have some old trend line, right? And since we got back, well, the trend line been broken here the late January, right? The beginning of February, once we got back above, right, market was holding up and we are trading above. So what we have here we have just the retest right here, right now, right? Now the question is, from the both sides, bulls and bears, what's going to happen when it comes to the retest? Well, what we have, I think, well, I know that the plenty of things might happen, right? And we discussed many of them, but this type of the gap, in my opinion, right? When we gapped down, not right at the demand, we gapped down below the previous demand. We just, as you can see, we just retest that demand and we've seen lower levels. Of course, it's a pre-market only, right? So I'm not gonna be surprised to see this type of the rally back towards the levels we discussed, but I think we are not gonna close that gap, right? I'm going to monitor very closely once the cash market is open. We will see. I'm very curious. I'm very curious what's going to happen here on the Nasdaq. Right. I'm going to make, if necessary, I'm going to make an update in regards to the indices later during the day or closer towards the end of the day. All right. I'm sorry for the noise outside, but it's not me. It's the neighbor doing some stuff, so I'm sorry for that. Anyway, very interesting situation when it comes to the few pound FX crosses. All right. First thing first, we are retesting. If you remember, we discussed this breakdown, eventually retest. Right. I'm looking for a 4-hour candle close, and then I'm going to decide what next. Right. I'm looking to fade that rally. All right. I'm looking to fade that rally, and I do expect lower levels. I do expect the levels close to 141.80, 141.50, and for now I do think this range is going to hold. Right. So I'm looking for levels towards the bottom of the range, especially that the data, UK data, wasn't that great. We have some risk going on the market, and we also awaiting more UK data, and I do not expect it's gonna to be like above the market expectation. So from that perspective, I'm looking to sell pound yen somewhere here around 143. I want to see the close of this 4-hour candle is gonna be 30 minutes ahead of the US cash open. Then maybe we will see attempt to rally at the very beginning of the US session, and then we will see. But don't forget, guys, and the link is in the description, that you can check what I'm doing in real time, or how I'm trading. You can monitor these trades, so you are more than welcome to try to monitor. Just to save some time. Unfortunately, there are all the strategies. I'm trying to mix it up on one account, but that's how it works. Anyway, but you can check it. So it's not only that we are talking about the market, but I'm also executing different strategies. Anyway. Let's go back to the pound, but this time let's try to check again pound Swiss franc. Well, I've been in liquidation on Friday, meaning I've closed my shorts. Right, if you remember, we were discussing about the pound Swiss franc. I closed last Friday ahead of the end of the day, or closer to the end of the day, end of the week. We do have nice retest, taking into the consideration yesterday price action and morning hours, and we are around the weekly open right here, right now, on the pound Swiss franc. So I'm looking very closely what's going to happen here, and I might decide earlier than than what we have on the pound yen. Here on pound Swiss franc, I might decide this over under to try to trade it. The pound Swiss franc, that's gonna be also very, very interesting. And what I'm gonna to look for, I'm going to the levels towards 27, meaning that the today's yearly lows I see is gonna be taken out. Then all about the price action around these levels, right? So I'm going to, if I'm right, if I'm correct, I'm going to cut something here, and I'm going to eventually watch the reaction of the market in case of the retest of these levels, because it might be just retest continuation lower to try to reach 26.50 on the pound Swiss franc. Also looking to sell euro, but I would like to see some kind of any type of the spike on the euro dollar. All right, so if it's happened, I would like to see some. Well, we were close to weekly open, right? I missed that one here around the data. I've been monitoring the yen crosses, so anything around 108.30 I might try to short it. And finally, dollar yen, I'm looking to fade, eventually rally If that's the, just briefly from the intraday perspective, if that's the range, I'm looking for a double that range, so I'm looking to fade any kind of the rally towards 109.90, 110 with very tight stops. Again, link in the description, so you can check what's been done over the course of the day. Guys, be careful. It might be tricky day today. Don't be trapped, and see you around. I will make necessary updates. Take care and goodbye, guys.